Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is officially 2026. We're nearly a month into the year already. It's a bit too soon to film my monthly January reading recap, but I figured that I would film an updated bookshelf tour. My shelves haven't changed too much over the last year. However, I have accumulated quite a few new books and have shuffled things around. So this video will kind of just go through all the books on my shelves and how I organized based on like genre. Pretty much it's generally based on genre, but there's some that are just like really pretty and I keep them all together as well. I have a pretty hefty TBR shelf. You'll see sort of my translated fiction, my classics, fantasy, romance, lit fic, everything. I have like 3 major shelves that I put everything on and they're already pretty much full, so I don't know what I'm gonna do for the rest of this year, but that's a later problem. Anyways, if you want to see every single book on my shelf right now, keep on watching. Okay, so these shelves here are in my second bedroom. Okay, starting off with everyone's favorite item on my shelves, we have these beautiful bookends, which I picked up from Anthropologie. They're very heavy duty. I don't know what kind of like cement or plaster they're made out of, but they're very good. I love them immensely. Behind I have this Monet painting. Picked this up when I went to his house. There's like a whole museum and gift shop there and I love it immensely. The books that I normally keep between these bookends are my priority TBR. On the left, these are some priority gifted books I have. So we have a couple nonfiction, more literary fiction, independent, and then just other books I want to get to in the next quarter generally. So there's a little sneak peek of books I hope to get to. And then on the left I have another print. This is the 1975 About You. I love that song. It's one of my favorite and I really like this little newspaper style print, which I picked up off of Etsy. I always just keep a bunch of matches and like my Cannes Film Festival lighter and everything for my candles. Just a random local candle. I always shop local or small business. This one was gifted to me actually, now that I remember. This was a vase my grandparents picked up in Ireland. And then this random, I just have like a bunch of random keychains. Like these are from Paris Olympics. This is from Shakespeare & Co. A Milan Olympics one down there. And now we're going to move into this top shelf, which is my white spine pastel blue greens, kind of. So on the left, these are all just white spines. There's no real rhyme or reason. These are all just kind of similar fonts and they all align quite well. A few in here are nonfiction and just some Penguin archives. These right here are all nonfiction. So we have like The Dry Heart, The White Book, Book of Pleasures, or An Apprenticeship and the Book of Pleasures, Book of Disappearance, I Who Have Never Known Men. And then we just have this Silence the Girls, which pairs well with the Song of Achilles. They're set in the same story, just different perspectives. And then from Song of Achilles, I go into my pretty gay books, my pretty LGBTQ books. I love these. They all look like just pieces of art and they're very cohesive together. So I have Lie With Me, Absence of Men, and then these 4 here. Moving over, I have my indie published Alone With You in the Ether. We have some Ocean Vuong, 2 of my Hana Yanagihara books, White Nights, Polish translated fiction, 1 copy of Migrations, one of my favorite books of all time, Elena Ferrante, Slanting Towards the Sea, one of my favorite reads this year, or last year, sorry, and then just this Acts of Desperation, just tying in the end. I just love this shelf so much. I think it looks really clean and cohesive. Moving on to this shelf, kind of this first half is all historical fiction, and then this right half is a mix of like science fiction, magical realism, any sort of speculative fiction, dystopian, that sort of thing. So on the left here, these are just more like recent historical fiction. This is early 2000s, this is 70s, 80s ish. And then we have it kind of set by country-ish, not really. This one is set in Iceland. These are both in Scotland. We have Ireland, Italy. These 3 are all like World War II related, so I kind of keep them all together. Also, I just feel like their spines all look quite nice together. I don't have this super organized. They're just kind of a mix all together because like this is science fiction, dystopian, fantasy, magical realism, some Emily St. John Mandel, Never Let Me Go, The Road. So these are all sort of like a dystopian, speculative, if I can say that word, more dystopian, and a few sci-fi on the end. Oh, actually these 2 are just like really random mysteries that I just tacked in on the end there. On the bottom, this is a mixed bag as well. On the left is just kind of random literary fiction / LGBTQ. So like these are all LGBTQ. And then we move into some coming of age reads like Brother, Another Brooklyn, Orbiting Jupiter, Bridge to Terabithia, Perks of Being a Wallflower, a few rogue literary fiction in here. And then as we pan over here, it is pretty much all my romance collection. I have a few. These ones were very kindly gifted by authors and publishers. I have my Carly Fortune, a few Emily Henrys. So those like are my two favorite romance authors as someone that doesn't really read romance. Favorites, a couple Taylor Jenkins reads that are quite old. And then just a really random like mythological retelling section. Of course, I have Silence of the Girls and Song of Achilles up above because they have really pretty spines, but the others are just on the end here. That was those three shelves, and then as you move over, I have these skinnier shelves. These are all TBR. I really don't even want to talk about it. It's kind of embarrassing. There's so many that I'm working through. These are not organized at all. So I'll just give you a quick overview. Some of them have been very kindly gifted and I do want to get to them. Some I've bought or thrifted and I just really haven't got to them. And I think I've learned, just because it's a good deal at a thrift store, if you're not going to plan to read it, just don't buy it. For example, I was looking at all the books I personally picked up last year, and the ones I didn't read were all ones I just like randomly thrifted on a whim. I read all the ones that I was very intentional about buying, but yeah. So anyways, we're gonna work through this year as well. Okay, and then we move to my living room shelf, which I'll give you a small pan of. This top shelf is also one of my favorite shelves I have. On the left, I have a few of these painted painted classics, I think is what they're called. I'm gonna read Persuasion this year. I've read Frankenstein and Agatha Christie. I also still haven't read Sherlock Holmes. Oopsie. I have this gorgeous edition of Anne of Green Gables I picked up when I was in the Maritimes a few years ago. The book is set in PEI. I have this 40th edition of The Handmaid's Tale, beautiful edition of Great Gatsby, and then just some like really small novellas up top. Coming over, this is some of my Penguin classics, the ones that are a bit shorter in length. I have read all of them except for the Plato and Euripides. I still haven't got to them, but I love Penguin classics immensely, and I like how they all kind of sit together. I should move that Jane Eyre. That really annoys me actually, so I will do that after. And then I have two hardcovers of Migrations and Once There Were Wolves. Charlotte is just one of my favorite authors of all time, and I'm so glad that she has become more popular over the last year with Wild Dark Shore. Then I have these two special editions of R.F. Kuang that I got from the librarian box, I believe, and I just love these editions and how the spines and just the covers and everything are, like, I'll show you. Isn't that unreal? And same with the Calabasas one. And they're both signed, which I love. These over here are just kind of black hardcover spines. A lot of them I took the dust jackets off, but I thought they kind of all just look quite cohesive and go together. I have a few of my Rebecca Ross here, which were all signed when I met her last year. The Nightingale, very kindly signed and gifted by the publisher. I really, really, really love this. Love this shelf a lot. Moving down to the shelf, so moving to the left, I have this Mozart mug I picked up when I was in Salzburg quite a few years ago, and this is where I keep all of my bookmarks. There are so many. I'm always gifting them to friends too, but this is like such a special collection of mine. In the back, we have all these old classics. Move that out of the way. A lot of these I inherited, but there's one or two as well that my friends have picked up for me. I'm never gonna read them because I feel like they're so delicate, but they're just so beautiful. For example, this is the Jane Eyre copy I inherited from my grandparents, I believe. Yeah, it's just so beautiful. And then the Wuthering Heights next to it. Heathcliff. Stunner. So I love those, and they're also held up by a mineral hardness kit because I am a geologist, surprise. These books right up here in front, this is where I keep all the books I've read so far in the month, just so then when I do my monthly reading wrap up, they're easily accessible before they find a place on my shelves, which are getting quite full, so we'll see where these fit in. I got this book club bar mug when I was in New York. It's such a beautiful bar slash bookstore, and I just keep all my pens and scissors and art stuff kind of in there. And then on the right, we have a few just like thicker lifestyle hardcover books I've got from publishers. These beautiful matches I picked up in Paris. Of course, my James Baldwin collection had to be somewhere, so I keep them all displayed together here, except for the Fire Next Time, because that is one of those Penguin archives, so I kept that with those white spines. And then we have two thick Penguin classics. Count of Monte Cristo I read last year. The Brothers Karamazov I would like to get to this year. We'll see. But this has been on my shelf for a long time. So that is the middle shelf. Then we move down. So with this shelf on the left, we have all translated fiction. So I have a few of the New York Review books here, some Penguin Modern Classics, some Fitzcarraldos. The rest aren't super organized. Like this is randomly German, Japanese. We have some Danish, Turkish, French, Spanish. These are all South American, so I like to keep them there. I love South American fiction. I've read many from the library as well, which I wish I could have had on these shelves, but alas, this is what we're working with. In the middle, we have a few sort of like literary fiction. A lot of these hardcovers were gifted by the publishers, which were really nice. And then, yeah, just a few more arcs and literary fiction. And then we move into my Sally Rooney books. No, I do not have Normal People on my shelves. Maybe I will get it one day. I did not like it when I read it many years ago. Maybe my mind will change because I do like her other work. So we have those, and then just a few more random literary fiction. And then the end, I guess these just is basically where they fit, which is like mystery and then just epic coming of age tales. These few are my dark academia thriller. So then with this middle shelf, this is all nonfiction. On the left are my TBR nonfiction. If they're not in the other room, they're here. These ones up to Through the Garden, I just haven't read yet. And then this is roughly organized by essay collections, stories on love, memoirs, grief memoirs specifically. Yeah, just lots of memoirs and biographies, some of my hiking books. And then we have art history, and then sciences. That is my nonfiction shelf. This bottom shelf also is just a random sort of array. We have a few like copies that I have of extra books. And then these ones on the bottom here, I think are all also mostly on my TBR shelf. I've read a few on the left, but it's just a bit of a mixed bag on the bottom, I won't lie. Yeah, that's the middle shelves in my living room. And then in my bedroom, I have a final few books here. It is most of my Rebecca Ross collection, my other copy of Babel I picked up. This is my original copy of Babel, actually. And some Suzanne Collins, this Fallen Stars copy that I was gifted that was amazing. Yeah, it's mostly like fantasy with some dystopian, I guess, here. My Poppy War, I don't have the middle book. I know one day I'll pick it up. My Adeline Grace, Ava Reed. Curious Tides is by a Canadian, I think she's Quebecois author. Great YA fantasy. And a few rogue fantasies at the back that I am not going to pull out. So yeah, that's my little fantasy collection I keep in my room. Okay everybody, that is it for today. That was a pretty short and sweet bookshelf tour. Let me know what your thoughts are, if we share any favorites on our shelves. Let me know what other book videos you want to see. I'm gonna film a January reading recap and February TBR hopefully very soon here. Yeah, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.